Okay, so we're nearing the end. You may have an arm assembled and it may be looking something like this, or you may still be having trouble with the joints and getting them all to come together. But so long as you've been following along and you have some of the components, even if you haven't trussed them out, I can show you how we can translate a lot of these drawings so that they come out just fine on the laser cutter. Okay, now if you're at this stage, everything we do right in here is going to work just fine. You can use these parts right in here, but I know not everybody's got this part done. Let me show you what we can do one part at a time, okay? Now I'm going to come in here and over on the side of the screen over in here, I've got the individual parts that I've put together. And so I'm going to come in right here and I'm going to take a look at these parts one at a time. And I'm going to put those parts into AutoCAD so that you can laser cut those parts. So let's come in right here and take a look right here. Now I've gone through and I've trussed these parts out. It's perfectly fine if you haven't trussed these parts. So long as you've got them assembled and oops, I moved something there. I didn't want to move that. So long as you've got them assembled in here and just sometimes got to click on that to get my 3D mouse working, wake it up a little bit. So long as you've got these joints right in here, you've got your little slots cut in here so that you can piece everything together, your holes in all the right place. We're going to take these out and I'm going to show you how you can get them to come together in AutoCAD so that you can slice them out nicely. This works for your base. It works for your boom. It works for your arm. Heck, it could even work for the bucket, depending on how you make the bucket. Any of the parts that you want to make out of laser cut materials, this is going to work. They don't have to be trussed. It's nice if they are, but they don't have to be. Okay, I'm doing it with ones that are trussed. Don't let that get too confusing. You have a part right here, and you can see when I click on that, that we get a profile coming out right here. And we can come in here and let's turn on our component color cycling. That's going to help me find that part in here. I'm looking for something kind of purpley in there. It's not a spacer right in here. I didn't do a very good job of naming these, did I? So just come up and down here and try and find that purpley. Oh, it's purpley because I clicked on it. It's actually orange. Okay, that's the mirrored part. I probably don't want to go from the mirrored one. I could if I had to. Let's see what this one over here. It's in blue. There's our boom profile right in here. Okay, now this is a part that I want to be able to make on the laser, and because I've got this over here, I'm going to make two of them. They're going to be identical, and when I put them together, just some things go on the inside, some things go on the outside, right? So what we're going to do right here is I am going to create a sketch, and I'm going to create the sketch on this plane right here. Okay, and so it's going to be this component right here, and to create that sketch, I am just going to project, and I am going to project that entire object right into there. Okay, and I'm just going to say OK. So now I've gone through and I've projected that entire profile onto here, and I've got a sketch that's open right down in here. It's the sketch that I'm working on right here down at the very bottom, and you can double click on that. We haven't been doing a good job of naming things, but let's just name this boom profile right on here so we know what we're working with. And then when you've got that, you can right click on that and you can go save as DXF. Bang. And now there's other ways you could create a drawing of it, and you could take it in and you could use Fusion 360's tools for creating drawings. But if you're familiar with AutoCAD and you've got an Autodesk student account, you've got access to AutoCAD, you're going to find a lot more flexibility in taking your 2D parts and using them in a program that's optimized for 2D parts. Okay, and so let's just, I'm just going to create a folder where I'm going to save all these parts right in here. And what I'm going to do right here is, where am I right in here? New. Why can't I figure out how to create a new folder in here? New folder. There we go. And let's see, syringe arm profiles for laser cutting. Okay, I'm going to put it right in here. And this was the boom. Notice I said make 2 of these, so I remember to make 2 of them because that's what we're going to need when we come together to put it in AutoCAD. So I've gone and I've exported that. That's perfectly fine. Now we have to do the same thing for each and every part right in here. So this little spacer right in here, okay, we're going to come in here and we're going to finish that sketch. We're going to come in here, we're going to create a sketch right here on this part and create project and come in here and make sure you've got that whole profile being projected, right? You don't want to be missing anything in there and just go OK. And now that you've got that profile in there, it's created this new sketch and we'll call this spacer 1A profile. Okay, and let's just go ahead and save that as a DXF. Okay, spacer 1A. We only need one of those. So let's go ahead and save that. Okay, and while we're in here, let's come back over here. We'll finish that sketch. We've got a part right down here that we want to create the profile for. So we're going to create a sketch right on its surface. Fusion's just thinking for a second here. What surface do I want to create it on? Make sure I select that entire plane. I'm looking at it right now. Create project. So I take this face right here and I say OK. Now I've got that profile all projected in there. Again, it's not a big problem if you don't have it truss. Just remember that you do need to have those rectangles for the joints to match together. Otherwise, you'll have problems assembling it. We'll call this spacer 1B. Okay, and that one's kicked out right now. We'll just go finish sketch and save as a DXF. Got to remember to do that. Okay, what else do we need on here to make this thing come together? So we've got a part here, a part here, and a part here. Now these two, as I recall when we made this, they are identical. So that's going to save us a little bit of work right here because all we need to do is create a sketch on one of them. Let me just escape out of that. Why did that take me back into an existing sketch? I want to create a sketch and I want that sketch to be on this profile right here. There we go. And I am going to go and project that profile right into there and say OK. And so we've got that all in there. And now I'm going to name this sketch as spacer 2A profile make 2. Okay, just a reminder to myself that there's 2 of these that we need to cut out. I'll finish that sketch. And what have we got left? So I've got that part, and we've got this one right up here in blue. And I think you've got this routine. Oh, I should have clicked finish sketch on that last one. Let me break out of this. I had something wrong selected in there, and we only need one of these, so create sketch. Pick this profile right here, so we should be looking directly at it, and create project. You can always just hit P instead of going to the menu right there, and that's what we want to project, so we click OK. You can see that the entire profile has been projected onto that plane, And we can come in here and what are we going to do here? This is spacer 2B. Okay, finish sketch. Now, have I been remembering to save these all as DXF files? Okay, because again, you just come in here, go save as DXF. This is spacer 2A, profile, make 2, and come in here and click on this. Just go right click and save as DXF. Remember, this only works for sketches. You can't just come to the part and have it work out that nicely. And spacer 2B, profile. We only need to make one. Okay, so now we've got all these profiles saved as DXF files. And DXF files are good for AutoCAD, but a whole bunch of other programs as well. Let's just come in here and fire up AutoCAD. And where are we here? AutoCAD 2021 English. Right, well, that took a bit longer than I thought. I'd just installed the new version of AutoCAD 2021, and every time I went to use it, about 1 minute into starting up my drawing, it would crash. So you'll notice we are now using AutoCAD 2020, and it seems to be working just fine. So don't know what's up with that, but really AutoCAD hasn't changed that much since about 2012, so I think we're good. Alrighty, so we've just finished exporting all of our files to DXF files. And so those are drawings that we've got, and we can go ahead and we can insert them as blocks into here. But before we do, we just want to quickly draw the outline for the sheet of MDF that we're going to be cutting these out of. So we can come in here and you can create a rectangle on here. And rectangle, there we go. And just start in one corner, 0, 0 is a good place to start. And let's go up to, for our laser cutter at BCIT, it's 609 millimeters wide by, what are we, 457 millimeters high. So a 24 by 18 inch laser cutter. And then we want to zoom. So Z for zoom and A for all. And you'll notice that I tend to use the keyboard a little bit more than icons in AutoCAD. It makes it a little harder to follow along, so I'll try and call out what I'm doing. But yeah, when you learn AutoCAD back in the day before Windows, you tend to use the keyboard a bit more. So we've got our box set up right here. This is showing us roughly how big a piece of MDF that we have to cut our parts out of. And we're going to come in here and we are going to insert, click on the Insert tab, and come over here and you're going to insert a block from another drawing in here. So blocks from other drawings, you're going to go ahead and bring that in. Now I've actually gone through and done this, so it already has some of my drawings going. You might have to come in here and click on these 3 dots right here, and that pops up a window that lets you bring in your boom main profile. Note that it says we want to make 2 of these, so I will just double click on that, and you can see the name of that boom main profile pops up right down there. Now that comes up over here and you're going to be able to put it onto the screen just before, okay, there we go. We've got repeat placement turned on. Now you may want to rotate it a little bit later on, but I'm just going to pop one in right there, one in right there, and then hit escape to get out of that command and close that window off there. So you can tidy up where those go. And then you come over here to insert again and blocks from other drawings. Click on your 3 dots right here, spacer 1A profile. I double click on that. And here you can see it says spacer 1A profile. I click on that and you can come in and you can tuck it in here. Okay, and you're done with that. You can close that window. Hit escape to finish that command. Insert blocks from other drawings. Come in here. And spacer 1B profile, double click on that, check and make sure you've got spacer 1B and pop it in somewhere. Now remember, you're trying to use the sheet of MDF responsibly. Oh, it ended up clicking right there. You know what, don't worry about that, just come up here. We're going to do this later on because we're inserting them in blocks, they all move together. So you can just hit M for the move command and click on that. Right click to say you've selected it, pick your base point, and tuck it right back into here somewhere. There we go. Use that space up pretty wisely. Okay, so let's see. Come over here and we'll do another insert. Let's see if we can do this without coming out of here. Oh, there we go. Spacer 2A. Make 2. I'm going to come in here. Spacer 2A. Click on that. And let's see. We can tuck one in right there. Is there room? Watch out for snapping. We're going to snap onto something right down there. You can turn your snaps off if you want, or just put it over here and you can move it later on. There we go. We'll move that around. Okay, we can get rid of that. And then we're going to bring in spacer 2B, or not 2B. That is the question. And let's just put it over here for right now. Okay, there we go. Those are the parts that you're going to need to assemble the boom, and you do the same thing for the arm. And of course, you want to move things around so that they're nicely placed in here. So hit M for move, pick this part up, and then you can just grab and zoom in here. And yeah, if you want to get really efficient, if you're going to make 1,000 of these, you want to start thinking, well, what if I just ran the laser down one common line right there, and I'd cut the outline first, and then one line right down the middle would separate those two. Can I have everything touching each other? And you probably can. You know, let's see. That probably gives us enough clearance in there to use that space really well. And you can also do a rotate to reposition some of these if you feel that's going to make things tuck in there a little bit better. In fact, you can even do a mirror if you want. So seeing as how we're dealing with MDF for this drawing, and it costs about $1 a sheet, keep in mind that there's a value in your time as well. And mostly what we're doing in here is, I'm going to put that in right there and move this one over here. And mostly what we're doing right now is just satisfying our aesthetic desire to have it come out efficient. And so let's move this back down into our drawing. There we go. So now you've started to develop an AutoCAD drawing that if you were to take this over to the laser cutter, everything would cut out. If your laser cutter works like the one we've got in at BCIT, yes, I can move that up in there. I can probably angle it up so it tucks in there a little bit more nicely and uses up less space. But let's just come back to home and remember that when you go to laser cut something, that you're going to want to have the line weight to be the lowest non-zero line weight. So you can come in here and you can actually just change your layer properties. Where did our layer properties get to on here? There we go, layer properties. And somewhere in here we have line weight for this layer. White, oh, there we go, line weight. And lowest non-zero. Okay, there we go. And now when you go and print that, everything should come out as a cut line on the laser. Just remember to turn off the outside box because otherwise that's going to take a little bit of time for it to cut when you go to print that on your laser cutter. Different laser cutters are going to have different setups, but most of them, by the time you get a CAD drawing put together like this, will be ready to go. And as you can see, we've got plenty of space left in here to build your base and to build your arm. So have fun with that, and looking forward to seeing the drawings come together.